You've been told your whole life that confidence looks a certain way. Loud, extroverted, commanding every room you enter. But what if I told you that the quietest person in the room often holds the most power? True confidence doesn't need to announce itself. There's a form of confidence that most people never discover, a darker, quieter, more devastating form of self-assurance that introverts naturally possess, but have been trained to suppress. Society has convinced you that your silence is weakness, your quiet is power, that your need for solitude is antisocial, that your thoughtfulness is hesitation. They were wrong. What you're about to learn will fundamentally change how you see yourself. We're going to explore the psychology of dark confidence, the kind that doesn't need validation, doesn't seek attention, and operates on a completely different frequency than what you've been taught. By the end of this video, you'll understand why introverts who master this become the most magnetic people in any room, precisely because they stop trying to be the quiet thread. There's something deeply unsettling about a person who doesn't need to speak. Think about it. When someone walks into a room and immediately starts talking, filling every silence with words, what does that signal? Insecurity, a desperate need to be noticed. But when someone enters quietly, observes, and speaks only when they have something worth saying, that creates a different kind of tension entirely. Psychological research on social dynamics reveals something fascinating. The person who speaks least is often perceived as having the highest status. The wise man speaks because he has something to say. The fool speaks because he has to say something. This isn't about being shy. This is about understanding that your attention is valuable currency. Every time you speak, you're spending it. Every time you react, you're giving away power. Introverts naturally conserve this energy. They don't chase conversations, they let conversations come to them. And here's the dark truth that extroverts will never understand. Silence is a weapon they can't defend against, because you can't argue with someone who won't engage. You can't manipulate someone who won't react. But this is only the beginning of dark confidence, the observer's edge. While everyone else is busy performing, you're watching. And that gives you an advantage they'll never see coming. Introverts process the world differently. Studies in cognitive psychology show that introverted individuals have higher activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for planning, analysis, and decision-making. You're not sitting quietly because you have nothing to say. You're sitting quietly because you're processing everything. Every micro-expression, every shift in body language, every subtle power dynamic playing out in real time. See everything, miss nothing. This is your superpower. Most people are so focused on what they're going to say next that they miss 90% of what's actually happening around them. They're performing for an audience while you're reading the entire room like a book. Dark confidence means using this information strategically. Not manipulatively, but intelligently. Knowing when to speak and what to say because you've already understood the situation better than anyone else in the room. Now that you recognize this power within yourself, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring the depths of your psyche with me. Because what comes next will change how you navigate every social situation. Social battery. Here's something that took me years to understand. Your need for solitude isn't a weakness. It's a biological necessity that most people don't have the depth to require. Introversion isn't about being antisocial. It's about how your brain processes dopamine. Extroverts have a higher tolerance for dopamine stimulation. They need constant external input to feel energized. Introverts, we process dopamine more efficiently. We don't need the constant noise because our internal world is already rich enough. Think of it this way, your social battery isn't defective. It's just more sophisticated. It requires quality over quantity. And when you stop apologizing for this, something shifts. You start choosing your interactions deliberately. You stop attending events out of obligation and start appearing only when you want to. And paradoxically, this makes people want your presence more. Scarcity creates value. The less available you are, the more valuable your attention becomes. When you do show up, you're fully present, fully engaged, not depleted from a week of meaningless small talk. This selectivity isn't antisocial, it's strategic. But there's a shadow side to this that we need to address. The mask trap. For years, you've probably tried to be someone you're not. You've forced yourself to network, to make small talk, to be more outgoing because that's what successful people do, or so you were told. This is the mask trap, and it's destroying your authentic confidence. Jung wrote extensively about the persona, the mask we wear to meet social expectations. Every introvert has developed an extroverted mask. We put it on for work, for parties, for family gatherings, and every time we wear it, we feel like frauds. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Here's what nobody tells you: that exhaustion you feel after social events. It's not just introversion. It's the energy cost of pretending to be someone else. Dark confidence begins when you burn the mask, when you stop apologizing for needing alone time, when you stop forcing enthusiasm you don't feel, when you embrace that your natural state, calm, thoughtful, observant, is not only acceptable but magnetic. Authentic. The most confident people in the world aren't performing confidence. They've simply stopped pretending to be anything other than what they are. Speaking of authenticity, let me reveal the power that comes from mastering your inner world. Inner fortress. Extroverts derive their sense of self from external validation. Likes, comments, compliments, approval. Take that away and watch them crumble. But you've been building an inner fortress your entire life without even realizing it. All those hours spent in your own head, all that time processing, reflecting, analyzing. You've developed something most people will never have: an unshakable internal reference point. External validation becomes irrelevant. This is the foundation of dark confidence. When your sense of worth comes from within, no one can take it from you. Criticism doesn't destroy you because your identity isn't built on others' opinions. Rejection doesn't devastate you because you never needed acceptance to feel whole. The Stoic philosophers understood this profoundly. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire, the most powerful position in the ancient world. Yet he wrote in his private journals about the importance of inner peace over external conquest. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Your introversion has been training you for this your entire life. The question is, are you ready to weaponize it? Because the next layer goes even darker. Selective speech. Words are power, and you've been giving yours away for free. Dark confidence understands that language is a tool, not a compulsion. When you speak constantly, your words lose weight. When you speak rarely, people lean in. This isn't about being mysterious for the sake of it. It's about understanding the psychology of attention. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. Studies in persuasion show that brevity increases impact. The most memorable speeches in history weren't lengthy dissertations. They were concentrated bursts of meaning. Lincoln's Gettysburg Address was 272 words. It changed a nation, but there's a deeper layer here. Selective speech forces you to clarify your thinking before you speak. You're not just reacting, you're responding. There's a massive difference. Reaction is unconscious, emotional, often regretted. Response is deliberate, calculated, powerful. Every word becomes a precision strike. When people realize that you don't waste words, they start paying attention to every single one you do say. They quote you. They remember you. They wonder what you're thinking in the silences. And that mystery, that's pure magnetic power. But speaking of mystery, there's a dangerous misconception we need to destroy. Mystery vs. hiding. Here's where most introverts go wrong. They confuse being mysterious with hiding, and there's a critical difference. Hiding comes from fear. It's closing yourself off because you're afraid of rejection, afraid of being seen, afraid of being judged. This isn't dark confidence, it's self-protection dressed up as strength. True mystery is different. It's selective revelation, showing only what serves you while keeping depth in reserve. It's not about having nothing to share. It's about being strategic about what you share and with whom. The darkly confident introvert isn't closed off. They are selective. They can open up deeply, but only with people who have earned access, only in contexts that feel safe and valuable. This distinction matters because hiding leads to isolation and loneliness. Mystery leads to intrigue and connection with the right people. Choose who deserves access. Ask yourself honestly, are you being mysterious or are you hiding? Are you selective or are you scared? Dark confidence requires brutal self-honesty, because the next truth might be uncomfortable to hear. Controlled presence. You don't need to dominate a room to control it. This is perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of confidence. We've been sold the image of the loud leader, the alpha who commands attention through sheer force of personality, but that's one-dimensional thinking. True presence operates on multiple levels. There's physical presence, taking up space without apology, standing still instead of fidgeting, moving deliberately instead of nervously. There's verbal presence, speaking with conviction, not volume, pausing before responses instead of rushing to fill silence. Confidence is not about being loud, it is about being certain. And there's energetic presence, the hardest to describe but the most powerful. It's the quality that makes people notice when you enter or leave a room, even if you haven't said a word. Introverts often have this naturally. You're calm in chaotic environments. Your stillness when others are reactive. Your groundedness when everyone else is spiraling. Speak softly and carry a big stick. This isn't passive. This is controlled power. And controlled power is far more threatening than explosive power, because it suggests depth, reserves, something held back. But there's one more element that transforms good confidence into dark confidence. Comfortable alone. The most terrifying thing you can do to the people around you is demonstrate that you don't need them. Not in a hostile way, not in an arrogant way, just, genuinely, when you're comfortable spending time alone, when you don't text first out of desperation, when you can sit in a restaurant by yourself without scrolling your phone, when you can decline invitations without anxiety. Independent. This creates an entirely different dynamic in all your relationships, because when you don't need people, you can choose people, and chosen connection is infinitely more valuable than dependent connection. Think about the most attractive people you know, not physically but magnetically. They all share this quality. They have rich inner lives. They're complete without external validation. They engage with others from fullness, not emptiness. The strongest position is wanting, but not needing. Paradoxically, this makes people want to be around them more. Humans are drawn to those who don't seek their approval. It's primal. We want what doesn't want us back. As an introvert, you're already halfway there. You genuinely enjoy solitude. The final step is owning it without shame. And this leads us to the ultimate integration. Dark integration. Everything we've discussed comes down to one principle: integration. Not becoming someone new, not fixing what's broken, just fully accepting and weaponizing what you already are. Dark confidence isn't about becoming extroverted. It's about becoming fully, unapologetically introverted and recognizing that this is a superpower, not a limitation. Accept, embrace, weaponize, dominate. It's about using your natural observation skills strategically, using your comfort with silence as a tool, using your depth as a filter that attracts the right people while repelling the wrong ones. The world has tried to extrovert you your entire life. Teachers pushed you to participate more. Parents worried you didn't have enough friends. Society suggested something was wrong with you. They were projecting their own limitations onto you. There was never anything to fix. There was only something to unleash. The quiet ones who understand this become the most formidable people in any room, not because they changed who they were, but because they finally stopped trying to. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. That's dark confidence. And now you have the map to find it within yourself. You've spent your whole life being told to be louder, to network more, to put yourself out there. And maybe you felt broken because those things drain you instead of energizing you. But now you understand the truth. Your introversion was never a weakness to overcome. It was always a different kind of strength. One that operates in shadows instead of spotlights. One that values depth over breadth. One that creates magnetic presence through stillness instead of noise. Dark confidence isn't about becoming someone else. It's about fully becoming yourself and recognizing that your natural way of being has power that extroverts will never access. The quiet observer who speaks with precision. The selective presence that makes every appearance meaningful. The inner fortress that doesn't need external validation. This is your inheritance. Stop apologizing for it. Start using it. If you made it this far, comment dark confidence to prove you're one of the quiet ones who understands. Welcome to the Psyche Project. If this shifted something in your mind, hit subscribe. Understanding yourself is the work of a lifetime.